All right, welcome to another episode of The Oldest Bone That I Own. Thanks for joining tonight. I'm your host, EJ Parker. Tonight's a very special episode. It's the Mastodon Deluxe Edition. So let's just cut the crap and get right to it, shall we? Tonight's a bone that stands alone. Check this out. Check this out. This, my friends, is a mastodon bone. A mastodon leg bone. To be more precise, a femur section of a mastodon. This is amazing. I bought this thing on eBay, believe it or not, of all places. Who would have thunk it, right? This came from Texas, South Texas. We're going to talk about the animal this came from. We're going to talk about the actual bone itself and how it became what this is today. We're going to talk about life and philosophy, psychology, and much more. So if you like that stuff, you are in the right place. So this is just a dream come true for me in a lot of ways, because I've always been a paleontologist at heart since I was probably a 4-year-old boy. And when it comes to old bones, the bigger the better. And this one stands alone. And this thing, there's a whole story to it, but it's much bigger. And it broke upon transit. When I bought it, as you can see here in this photo, it was not complete, but it was not broken. Because I have pieces, and you'll get to know all these pieces individually as this episode progresses. It's a puzzle. I purchased a mastodon femur section, and through the magic of eBay, it morphed into a mastodon puzzle. And I like to fix problems. So instead of crying over spilt milk, I said, no, this is great. Let's rebuild this thing. It's something to do. My kids love it. It's the tactile feel of a mastodon bone that's not been treated with any chemicals is quite an amazing experience. If you like to feel things, it's quite remarkable. It's not fossilized. It's not a subfossil. It's a bone of an extinct animal. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what a mastodon is. If you don't know, a mastodon is basically like a hairy elephant, to put it simply. I got notes. As always, EJ Parker is prepared with notes. Let's talk basics. Mastodon. What's a mastodon? It's smaller than an African elephant. These animals lived for a hot minute. It wasn't just a mastodon in history. There was mastodons, different kinds and types, and different, they lived in different kind of environments and geographical locations. But in general, these animals lived roughly between 4 million to 13,000 years ago. That means, yes, Mastodon would coexist with frozen cavemen lawyers. They did coexist, and through the fossil record, we can deduct that they coexisted quite peacefully. Frozen caveman lawyer. I'm trying to think. I think about maybe like 15% of my demographics that watch this channel might remember like the early 90s, Phil Hartman, Frozen Caveman Lawyer. That was a great bit. Oh my God. Phil Hartman was an amazing talent. Oh my God, what an amazing talent. Frozen Caveman Lawyer. That had me laughing when I was 12. Anyhow, back to the bone. So this animal, mastodon, they preferred forests and swamps. You can get like a different kind of look at this thing, different perspectives. Where I live in Northeast Ohio, there were mastodon that coexisted with Paleo-Indians, who were some of the first, or as current paleontological theories have it, Paleo-Indians were the first humans to enter North America roughly, geez Louise, I forget, like 20 plus thousand years ago. I believe much longer than that. 40,000. There's theories that it could be as long as 150,000 years due to a site in San Diego, California. But that's up for debate. But yes, humans did live alongside mastodon, not just frozen caveman lawyers. And they hunted them. And if you could think about it, I mean, if you were a Neanderthal or a Homo sapien, 65,000 years ago, a mastodon was not just a huge source of food for your family and friends, but it was like a walking hardware store. All these different parts of the bone and chunks and the tusks and all, and of course the hair, the hide, and all that. So that was like a windfall for a caveman. Good old caveman windfall. So, mastodons can be confused with mammoths, and ways to kind of like in your head decipher the difference would be like a mammoth it's taller and more narrow, whereas a mastodon is not as tall at the shoulders but stockier, built for forests, and they were known to be more of a they would, I think browse is the word. They would eat like twigs and leaves, and mammoths would eat grass like a buffalo, and their teeth are the way to I guess to decipher the species quite easily, because the mastodon tooth is shaped much more differently due to its diet than a mammoth. So there you go. They had tusks. They find tusks. The whole permafrost, they're discovering now, because the Earth's getting warmer, frozen things in like Siberia, and it's just a matter of time until they find a frozen Neanderthal. And that's going to be amazing, because a Neanderthal like slipped in some crevice 200,000 years ago, and the conditions were right, and it got preserved. So I'm sure it's around the corner until we see a frozen Neanderthal, which would be amazing if you think about it. What else about the animal itself? I believe this bone, just because it's not even a subfossil, which means it's kind of like half bone, half stone, I believe this could be as recent as 10,000 years old. And if you can hear that, it's porous, it's chalky. The dust in my mouth tastes salty, like a recent bone. I don't know. Why'd I buy this? Hey EJ, why'd you buy it? I want to show my kids this thing. It's fun to bring in the house and parade it around like it's a major award, because it is. I love paleontology. My daughter and I are building a collection of natural world specimens, and this one, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I bought this because it was affordable. I love ancient species. I mean, this crosses a lot of interest for me. You can just see some of the details of the bone. Now, I'll tell you the story about. So I bought this because I wanted to show my kids. The price was unbelievable. It was $100. Now, if you know anything about the price of a mastodon bone these days, $100 for even a section this big of a femur is quite a deal. I see on some more fancy websites that do fossil and paleontological specific items, a femur section that's 2 to 3 feet long could fetch near $1,000. So what is this worth? When I got it, I mean, when it was complete and not broken, well, it wasn't complete, but it was complete up to this section, it could be worth $800, $900 on a good day, maybe more. What's it worth now? I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not going to sell this thing. Each piece, I mean, this is 3 pieces combined that I glued together. You can see this is the inside of the bone, this honeycomb-like structure. And this is the outside of the bone that looks just like a giant chicken leg. And if you think about just like this chunk of bone right here, this giant mass of calcium, just imagine the size of the animal. This is just like your femurs right here. This is just part of it. It came out this wide, and man, these bones. So as far as this bone, when it was complete, a femur bone, was basically around 3.5 feet long, and it was the longest and heaviest bone in the animal's body. So now is a part of the show where I attempt to kind of show you what I'm up against, because when I bought this, as you can see here again in this photo, it was not like this. But now I have pieces and parts, and I have bone dust, and I have, these random pieces and some pieces that I've kind of sussed out where they may belong in this puzzle. But now's the part of the show where I kind of show you what I'm up against next. Because in order to complete this, I've been using this industrial strength adhesive E6000, which is awesome. It cures like nothing ever. It's just so rock solid, but it's got a little bit of a rubber give to it. It's quite, it does the job for this. Because this is a heavy duty job. I was skeptical, but then when I applied the first piece, the E6000 was like, boom. It takes about 24 hours to cure and then forget about it. So without further ado, I'm going to attempt to show you what I'm up against and how I'm going to fix this problem. So in order to create this bone, to get this bone back in shape or back in business, all right, so I'm going to dig a hole in my garden, and within the soil, I'm going to put the bone in and then pack soil around it so it stands upright, like, I don't know, like so. And then once it's firmly in the ground, I'm going to take this huge section here that I've already sussed out where it belongs, and then I'm going to plug it in. Like, it even sounds cool. Like that. Now look at this. Look at this thing. Look at the size of it now already. Look at this freaking thing. How big was this animal? And this is not even the complete femur. Look at this. What the heck? So I have to connect the section where my head is. I have those bones over there. And I gotta just kind of like, you know, just let it set for about 24 hours on a warm day, no rain, no wind, and then add the other section. But this piece will go first, and then a few other pieces, and then on to the small pieces. So this piece right here weighs around 8 pounds itself. So, I mean, it's got to be, you know, a nice windless day and just let it set and cure. So, oh wait, I got to show you one of the coolest parts, though, of this. Now, this is a really cool little aspect. Let me try this again without breaking this thing again. All right, so when this goes in here like this, check this out. See this like little opening right there? Like, oh, where's that piece? Right there. Now look at this. Look at that. That feels, it's like so satisfying. Huh? I almost want to keep this piece unglued so I can, when I, you know, show this to kids or friends, you can really, I mean, see the inside of the bone and the layers of how the bone's made and or constructed or whatever, and then to fit it in and see how it fits. I don't know. I might do that, I might not, but it's kind of like a cool little thing. This is like a nice piece of bone. I like this piece of bone as it is. I've kind of got to know all these pieces of bone. There were 8 pieces originally. Now we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4 large pieces, and then a bunch of small ones. But each piece kind of had its own personality, and as I glue them together, I kind of had to say goodbye, like, oh, goodbye, old friend, and now you're part of a bigger bone, and you'll be, you know, be part of a bigger bone one day. Don't worry, you know, that kind of vibe, because there's so much personality in these specimens. I mean, I just love the colors. Bone's a legitimate color, and this is definitely a great bone color. Hear that sound? It's got a great tone. It's a great tone to the bone. So, let me see here. Put this back. Now, the challenge beyond these larger sections that I have to apply will be filling in like the random pieces that are missing, because I tried to collect everything in the bottom of the box when this arrived. I opened it up and it was broken, and but I mean, these pieces, for example, I've already figured out where they belong, and I've labeled this, know where they are. I know where these go. I've figured out where in this mass of calcium these random pieces go. That's how dedicated I am to the detail. And then here we just have your generic Mastodon bone parts. At the bottom is the dust. I put that in my coffee in the morning, and it's no, I'm just kidding. But it was a windy day a couple days ago, and like the dust blows in my mouth while I'm working on this thing, and I feel like a salty taste to it. For those at home wondering. So that's the project of this Mastodon bone. I'm gonna remake this, and then some ideas, because this is a large bone. You don't put this in the sock drawer. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a display piece, right? And I had some ideas, like this would look really slick under like a glass coffee table when it's all done. Even this would look beautiful, but when it's all complete, it'd be a real nice conversation piece to have this under a coffee table. I just love looking inside this. You can see like where the marrow was. Ancient humans would crack open femurs and long bones to extract marrow because they knew there's a lot of, nutrient-rich material within. And just to kind of give you a comparison, while we're talking about femur bones, so this is a femur bone of a cow. And I mean, just alone, I mean, can you fathom the freaking, this must have been a bull mastodon. Give me a freaking break. I mean, give me a freaking break. There's more bone mass in like just a quarter of this than this whole femur. And this must have been a really decent sized cow. I mean, there's no small cow, right? So this would have been, so this up here is where it meets the hip. What I have down here would be, I believe, this section right here. So like this, carefully move to show. All right, so we're looking down like this, and there would have been a more larger section would be like this same area. So can you just, this is insane, the difference. I mean, this is ridiculous. This must have been like a really, really big mastodon, or I don't know, or just a big, they're big animals in general. What else do I know about this thing? It's been a fun project so far, and it's a showstopper at the house. The kids like to feel it, and just as far as like the details of getting this kind of started, I had when this arrived, all this porous, almost pumice-like structure inside was just so dusty and chalk-like. I'm like, this felt like a fresh bone of an animal that died in the forest 10 years ago, not 16,000 years ago. But in order to have a strong, firm platform for the adhesive, and we might as well give it a show while we're at it, the E6000, you have to prepare this first, this surface. Otherwise, you're putting adhesive on a powdery surface and it won't cure strong enough because this is a heavy-duty bone. So I had to prepare this by spraying like an adhesive, like a light adhesive, or dab like a lighter glue everywhere you see porous material. This has all been treated to make it just more solid, because these parts are so heavy. It's got to have a firm base, otherwise you're gonna hold the bone and the top portion will just fall off. So the challenge will be finding a great display area for this piece once it's completed. And trust me, you'll be the first to see it when it's done. I'll show YouTube immediately. I'll show YouTube. So let me just put this chunk right there. What else can I say about this bone? Let me just show you some of the inner workings of what I've been doing. You can see where the sealant or this industrial adhesive is. It dries clear and it's hard as hell. I mean, this feels solid. I have like, there's no give. I have 100% confidence that it feels like almost like one full piece. And as you see, this is where the crack is from the outside of the bone. It's kind of hard to see. But what I've been doing, just to make it look more natural, is where the glue was, I'll sprinkle my bone dust over it and pack it in, and then you can't see the glue, right? So there you go. And you're not wasting any bone dust, right? That bone dust, what am I going to do with the remainder bone dust? Someone asked me. I might raffle it away. I don't know. It's a good question. We do with Mastodon bone dust. I got to think about it. But that's, about all I can say about this Mastodon bone, this femur section of a Mastodon that's being worked on. This thing's fun to touch. It's not a fossil yet. I guess we should talk about how this thing was created and why it is perhaps in this state. This came from South Texas, and the clay in South Texas is conducive to preserving bones in this particular fashion. What happens is it was a river delta, and when the animal died, the bones would sink into the clay, and the clay would encase the bones and act almost like a shrink wrap, preserving them, not decaying and not fossilizing. And that's why I believe, and then they would surface through geological whatever rigmarole gets into the surface, and then someone finds it, puts it on eBay, and then this guy buys it and then talks about it and shows you. That's how that works. But this is just gorgeous to look at. I've been drawing these pieces. That's been a challenge. Drawing these just really abstract shapes has been really fun. And if you want to increase your drawing with charcoal or pen, draw a real bone. I don't care what it is. Just draw a real bone, and you'll see what I mean. You'll walk away from that sketch a better artist, because there's just so much nuance, and if your eye catches it, you can apply what you learn from bones to anything. Anything. Trust me, try it. Again, that crack there, you can see it, boom. But this thing feels rock solid. So that's about, I guess, all I can say about this Mastodon bone that I can think of. When it's done, I will run and show you all. My notes, let me see if there's anything else I've missed here. Why they go extinct. Theories are the Paleo Indians hunted them to extinction. The animals couldn't breed fast enough. They have a 22-month pregnancy cycle. That's a theory. They always toss in climate change for good measure, right? Will these be created again? Someone asked me. I don't know, like Paleo Park or I believe they will. I believe actually we're like around the corner from mastodons being released in Siberia or something like that. Through DNA from the permafrost, they're discovering like mastodon that are frozen and so fresh you can still eat them, apparently. And you mix the DNA with whatever of an elephant, and out pops a mastodon that's like 99.9% mastodon. Only problem is that first mastodon that comes out does not have a mama mastodon to teach it how to be a mastodon. So that's the conundrum of the first mastodon. How do you teach a mastodon to be a mastodon when there's no other mastodon to teach it? It'll learn the ways of an elephant, right? We want it to be in a mastodon environment, being its own true mastodon self. So that's a problem for scientists to figure out, and us to sit back and watch. So I want to thank you for watching another episode of the oldest bone I own, the Mastodon Deluxe Edition. So I got all dressed up for a fancy bone, a special bone. My name is EJ Parker, and as always, thank you for checking in.